From 4 News Now, with live updates throughout the day, breaking news as it happens, and weather every 10 minutes. This is KXLY Plus.
Good morning. For 4 News Now, I'm Rob King. My guest today is a multi-instrumentalist, best known as the keyboardist of Need to Breathe. They're going to be coming to the Inland Northwest May 12th at BECU Live at Northern Quest Casino with special guests Judah and the Lion. Josh Lovelace, thanks for hopping on to chat with me. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Absolutely. Now you guys are on your Caves World Tour. It's the 10th studio album. Do you still get nerves before going out, or are you guys professionals at this point? You lock in and you know what to do?
Yeah, I think we are, we've been doing it for a long time, so we kind of figure out how to squash the nerves for the most part. But, these shows have been really fun on this tour so far. And I actually have gotten nervous a couple of times. It's just this energy of like something's about to happen. It's just like, it's more anticipation than nerves. But it's been really, really fun to get out there and play these new songs and the old songs for fans across the US. It's been really great.
Do you ever panic that you've forgotten how to play piano?
Yeah, I told somebody yesterday, it's like, I don't have a piano backstage to like warm up. So the other guys are playing guitar and,
Sure.
using drumsticks or whatever. So I kind of go out there a little bit cold turkey when I'm playing. So at first it takes me a couple songs to be like, remember what you do for a living. Remember this, and then it finally does kick in. And by the end of the show, I'm
Yeah, to be
good
like
to
the
go.
C chord is this one.
It's like I remember how to play Had a Little Lamb. I just got to remember how to play all the Need to Breathe songs too. So, yeah.
The new album, Caves, like I said, it's the band's 10th. Is it your 6th or 7th with them?
I think it's the 6th with them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a couple collabs on here, Old Dominion, Carly Pierce, and Judah and the Lion, who's touring with you guys. Any of the people that came into the studio with y'all, was it just like a lock-in immediately? You guys felt it?
Yeah. I mean, everybody, and from this record, everybody that collaborated with us, it was really organic and natural. It wasn't necessarily like who would be great on this song? Let's call Judah and the Lion. It was like, well, we're going on tour together. Maybe we should do a song together. Which was really natural. And Old Dominion, we had followed them for a while, and we found out they were fans of ours, which is really cool. And we became good buds. And then Carly was the same way. We had no idea that she even knew who we were, and we kind of were connected, and we're like, look, we should do something together. So it was really organic, and every time we do something with someone, we want to be able to sign off on it as if it's like really natural and something that comes from us and not just something that's like forced. And we've been really lucky that really everyone that we've done is felt that way, which is really special.
Yeah, when I was listening to the album, the songs that you guys do have features still sound like Need to Breathe songs. It's not like you guys then went in this whole direction because you were with other people.
Yeah, it's funny, because I've lived in Tennessee all my life, but some of the other guys have moved to Tennessee. And, when you're living in, Nashville, you're walking down the street and you might see, country music people all the time. You're like, oh, hey, and then you become buddies with those people. And so a lot of our collaborations, started happening in the country music world. And so it's funny. People were like, are you going to go country? I heard it in the Old Dominion song. And we're like, no, we're not going country, but it's become really natural for us to like collaborate in that world. And also the country audiences have been really open to a rock band. We feel like we're like country's Leonard Skinner or something, which is kind of awesome that we can be that and kind of dip our toe in that water without, changing who we are and being the Need to Breathe that fans have come to hopefully know and love. So it's really cool that we get to do that.
Now, you brought up Tennessee. Do you think the secret is out on Knoxville?
I actually think it is out, which is good. It's good. I mean, I've lived there my whole life. I was born and raised there. And I mean, it is the best place to live, best place to raise kids. I love going home. But when early on when I was first started touring, people said, they were like, you live in Knoxville. Why wouldn't you move to Nashville? And I honestly other than family, I didn't have a great reason other than I just liked it. But now it's like, man, Knoxville, we have so much to do and so many restaurants, and we get good shows, and the balls are there. It's a really fun place to live. And but yeah, I think the secret is for sure out. People are moving there all the time, which is good and also crowded.
Yeah. Do you get a little jealous of being like, dude, I've been doing Knoxville my whole life and now y'all are
I
on
know.
it?
I know. It's like this was my thing. Why do you all have to steal my thing? No, it's fine. More the merrier. It's all good.
Oh, you grew up there. Was it a musical household that you grew up in? You play not just keyboards, so was that a big part of your upbringing?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I grew up, I played piano for a long time. I played in church some, and, played guitar and drums. And somebody told me early on, before I ever had my first gig, good advice, but also overwhelming advice was, if you really want to make it in the music business, learn as many instruments as you can, because you never know what call you're going to get. You may get the call that says, "Hey, can you play mandolin?" And you better be able to say yes if it's the right gig. So I've tried to at least fake it a little bit on as many as I could, and had supportive parents and grandparents that kind of pushed me into that world and helped and let me be that. I loved sports, but I wasn't any good at it. And eventually I think my parents were like, okay, I think the music thing might work out for him. Let's just kind of, let him do that, which was good. And it allowed me to kind of explore and turn into hopefully what I am today. They were really supportive.
Absolutely. Do you have an instrument that you're more attached to than others?
Man, I love the Hammond organ, which I play in our band too, like the B3 organ. It's
Hmm.
it's the organ, but for people that don't know, it's an organ, but it's attached to like this speaker in the back of the room, and it's a Leslie speaker, and it spins, and so you play, and as the music ebbs and flows and does this thing, you turn the speaker on, and it makes it sound like it's like in a washing machine, and it just kind of does this thing, and there's all kinds of famous people that have done, Allman Brothers, just different people that have made it, legendary. And of course, that's something that I get called a lot to play on studio record, people's records and stuff. Hey, can you play V3 on the record? And it's like a special thing for me, because I always did that growing up. Like, that's one of the things I learned how to play early on, and it's somewhat rare now that people still travel with them, which we do. So that's, yeah, it's kind of, it's like an extension of my heart for sure.
Yeah, the Hammond, I think, like the Wurlitzer, is probably an instrument people don't even know they've heard on
Yeah, exactly.
thousands of songs.
Totally, totally. Yeah, and I call myself a meat and potatoes kind of piano player. I like to have a piano, a whirly, and an organ, and then other than that, y'all figure it out. Like, that's my cup of tea. It's just, and so that's what Need to Breathe a rock and roll band, so it works out really good for us in that way.
Absolutely. I also want to talk about your solo-ish project, Young Folk. It's children's music. Why was that important for
Yeah.
you, and what's your attachment to children's music?
Yeah, no, I guess when my son, well, both my kids were really young, I started writing songs for them when I would travel, just so they could hear my voice when I was gone. We were gone for long stretches of time, and so I started writing these little demos, and sending them home to my wife so she could play them for my kids. And then they started kind of developing into like real, recordings. And I wanted to release them because I thought, my kids are enjoying these, and maybe some other families would as well. And it kind of turned into this thing that's just a love letter to my kids, but also just families. It's hard to find quality music that, both a kid will, react to, and the parents are not extremely just like annoyed by. And so I try to find that balance with that music. And it's been a really fun thing to get to do. I grew up listening to children's music. Some of my heroes, my heroes were Sharon, Lois, and Bram, they had a show on Nickelodeon here in the States, and I watched them, and I just thought, I want to do that for a living, and have become friends with them, and they're mentors with me on this records. They've sung with me on records. So to me, it's like kind of a long time coming. I knew I would do something in that space because it was so influential to me. And I really do. I love it, and I love what I do and Need to Breathe. But it's so fun when we're out playing shows and someone comes up with their kid and they say, "Hey, I listened to your kid's record on the way to school, and also when I drop my kids off, I still listen to it because I like it," which is really a fun compliment to the music and just yeah, just doing something as a family is hard to it's hard to beat that. So I love getting to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting path to have good instrumentation in children's music. And like you
Yeah.
said, it's not something you see a lot.
Yeah, and I really do take the time. I to treat it like it's a Need to Breathe record or whatever. I'll play a lot of the instruments, but I also bring in good musicians and other vocalists. I had Ben Rector sing on one of the songs. I've had different people come in and just and that they care about it too. So it always surprises me when I listen to it back. I'm like, man, this is really. If I wish I had this when I was a kid, it's like I really am proud of it in that way. And so hopefully, and one thing that's great about kids' music is there's always babies being born, and so there's always a new audience to be had. And these records are continually getting to be discovered, which is really fun. It's fun for me to be a part of that journey as well.
Awesome. Well, Josh, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Last question from me. I am a newlywed. My wife and I have talked about having kids. What are your tips to staying cool while driving a minivan?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think you just have to own it and just be like, look, I like to be able to push the button and the doors just kind of open, and kids can get in when they get a little older. You don't have to pick them up, put them in there, and when they're young, you just like literally just drop them in. It's like you just kind of have to own the luxury of like going easy on yourself and making things, yeah, making it fun. And also, who cares what those other parents say? I mean, like they wish they had your minivan because yours is the coolest one on the block. So,
There was
yeah.
nothing cooler in my mom's Honda Odyssey than having the DVD player fold
Oh
down and being
yeah,
able to watch stuff in the back seat. That was
it's the
the
best.
peak of luxury.
Oh, it was, and also the Astro vans that had the VCRs back in the day. I mean,
Ooh,
when I
that's
was
before
growing
my
up.
time.
No, I was growing up. It was like you had three videotapes, and there was probably like The Sandlot, The Goonies, and maybe I don't know E.T. And it's like you just got to watch one of the three of those, and you hope that they work. So yeah, it's just own it, and it'll do you just fine.
I think my parents remarked once on a road trip that they audibly heard an entire season of Friends while we drove to Yellowstone.
Yeah, we've done that a couple of times on our road on our tours where the driver's in the front. If we had like a Sprinter van in the UK, I remember one time we did that and we watched the whole season of I think it was 24 or something like that. I can't remember. And the guy in the front seat was like, I didn't see any of it, but I totally followed along and I want to know what happened in season two. We're like, okay, well we'll figure it out. We'll do it.
Josh,
Yeah,
thank you so much for your time today.
yeah,
Tickets are still on sale for Need to Breathe show May 12th at BECU Live Northern Quest Casino. Josh Lovelace, thank you very much.
yeah. Thanks for having me.
And if you missed some of this interview, you can watch the whole thing on our website, kxly.com and KXLY Plus. For now, live in studio, I'm Rob King for 4 News Now.